Day 18. Still going. Nearly 3 weeks now. That would definitely be a milestone for me as far as recording videos go. In fact, even day 14, 2 weeks in, would have been a milestone, or was a milestone. So yeah, I'm proud of what I've achieved so far with recording daily videos, so it's all good. And anyone who's been watching them every single day so far, appreciate it. Anyway, so in my quest of creating new habits to make a better me that I've been doing now for these 18 days, I've nearly finished reading Ryan Holiday's The Obstacle is the Way. In that, all I've got left to read is his final thoughts at the end of it. So yeah, that's probably the fastest I've ever read a book where it's quite a varied book, I suppose. No, obviously it's got one premise as such, but it's not a storybook. The only other book I've ever read in the space of, I think the quickest book I've ever read was Hunter Thompson's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. That was over the space of 2 days. The next fastest book I've read was Matthew Riley's Conquest or Contest. Can't remember exactly what it's called, but that's a very interesting story. Obviously a fiction story, novel, book, whatever. Yeah, before this, reading any sort of self-help or self-improvement or like mindset changing books, the only other one I've read, I say the only other one, I've probably read about 2 or 3 cover to cover now. The Obstacle is the Way, Dan Harris's 10% Happier, and there's a book called The Tools that was actually written by 2 psychiatrists, and then there was one more, Professor Wiseman's 59 Seconds or Less, which that's an interesting book. The book is broken up into, I think, like 20 different scenarios where you can apply the 59-second rule, so that's worth checking out. Yeah, so for reading, that I'll get to the final thoughts chapter at some point, but obviously it's like a summary, so I'm not too concerned with actually getting that read. I'm sure there will be a gold nugget in there, so yeah, I will read that probably later today. But then the next book I'll be moving on to is one written by Rob Moore, titled Money. It's one I picked up recently, actually. Where did I get that? No, I think that was another charity shop find. So yeah, that'll be next on my list. And then after that, I've got the best part of 50 or 60 books that I've been collecting for the last 7, 8, 9 years, and I've just been adding them to my watch list, my reading list as such, and now I'm finally getting around to reading them. It's all well and good having a large library of books. I used to have more. At one point in between moving houses, I did have to get rid of a load. I think the biggest load of books I got rid of at one point was about 20 or 25 books. Some of them I ended up selling online because they were very valuable books. The most valuable book I've ever sold, or owned, I should say, I think sold for like £85, and it because it was an old book. So yeah, I should have probably held on to that a bit longer, but at the time I didn't have the space for it. It was a big chunky book. It was heavy, weighed like 2 kilos. As far as books go, that's a lot. And it was a reference book as well, so it's not something you can just like read casually. It's something that you turn to a certain page specifically to learn something about something you're doing right now, right there and then. So yeah. Yeah, as I was saying, it's all well and good having a large library of books, but it doesn't mean anything if you don't read any of them, which up until recently I didn't fully grasp that. I always had this sort of idea that I've got the books, I can read them whenever. But the fact is, whenever is never. Unless you're going to sit down, open up a book and start reading, it doesn't count for shit. So, yeah, I'm glad I'm actually forcing myself to read, because I've already learned stuff that I would have otherwise gone through the rest of my life not knowing. So I'm thankful for that. Yeah, what else? I did actually write down a couple of things to talk about. Oh yeah, so apart from reading and my triumphs there, I stumbled across a small fitness community online, and in one of the videos, this one of the founders. Oh, wait a second. Are you finished, darling? Sorry for the interruption. Kids need feeding. What was I saying? Yeah, so I stumbled across a small online community, and one of the ladies that run it, one of the co-founders, I suppose, she made a very valid point in saying that the things we do that are tough at the beginning or seem very hard to do at the beginning or early on, you have the... Hang on, darling. The more you do them, the better you get at something, or the easier something feels to do. What's actually happening is No, hang on a second. What's actually happening is the task isn't getting any easier. You're just getting better. The task, whatever you're doing, is the same thing as it was a day ago, 10 days ago, a year ago, whatever. So that's something to bear in mind. And with it, I'll say the reason that kind of struck or hit home for me was that, hang on just a second, was that a lot of times people might take for granted when they can do something and think that anyone else can do the same thing as easily as they can, but that's not the case, because the only reason it seems easy to you is because you're good at something. So that's why practice and making habits is important. Right, I need to tend to this kid, so I will see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching yet again. Yeah, until then.